Welcome everyone on this new episode of Let's Talk AI. Today I'm super happy to be with Fabian Werkmeister. How are you doing, Fabian?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for the invitation.
I'm super happy to have you. We'll be able to discuss a lot of things, data engineering, full stack. We'll talk about use cases, a lot of ideas. I've been told that you have, when we're out of ideas to build things, we need to ask you. You're the guy to go to on LinkedIn. So super happy to have you on the show. Thanks for taking the time. Maybe for the people who might not know you, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, surely. Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Fabian. I'm 33 years old. I'm currently living in Hamburg. And what's to say about my journey? I came from business administration and then jumped into data and can truly say that I found my passion in it. So I like to build, I like to experiment, and I mean that's the essence of data, and I really love it.
Awesome. Well, we'll get a bit of a bigger introspection in your past, but um, as of today, I always like to ask people what they're trying to achieve. So it can be like a very deep, profound question or not. But what are you trying to achieve? Maybe with your work, you say that you love to build things, create, and so on. Do you have like one mission at like today? Maybe it will change in 1 year, but do you have something that you value more? Like, what are you trying to achieve?
You mean in my data professional, or do you mean LinkedIn?
This is a like general question about you, but it can be professional, data professional in itself.
Tough question. What do I want to achieve? Um, Basically, it's all around the fun of creating something, because this is something I discovered in the last 3 years, that I like to build, to create stuff with some sort of degree of freedom, some creativity in it. And I didn't expect to find this in, I would say, in the information technology data environment. But this is actually what I want to achieve. That gives me deep satisfaction to code up something which works and then does something. And this is highly satisfying for me. And this is basically my inner motivation to do all this data stuff.
Awesome. This curiosity is awesome. Like this feeling of learning something because out of curiosity, and it's just like time goes in and it's just fun and you build and you build. Awesome. So maybe it could be interesting to you mentioned that you started as business administration. Can you do maybe a retrospective on how you ended up in the tech field doing data?
Yeah, it's a somewhat longer story, but I will shorten it. Uh, I had simply no idea what to study. I only knew that I don't know, maybe want to study. And since my father and my brother, my older brother, did some economics and business administration, thought this is the right way for me. And then I started this, and I simply had no idea when I finished my bachelor in economics. Then, since I had no idea, I continued with doing a master's degree in business administration, and then it was done and I still had no idea what to do. So I tried to get some internships. I had some interest in data coming from statistics and business administration. So I did some internships in market research. This was quite interesting, but didn't really fuel my creativity. So I started to experiment a bit around online marketing, this ad tech stuff, then going back to market research. And yeah, this wasn't quite what I wanted. And then I reflected a bit what what I could do next. And then I threw together like the keywords, I don't know, data, numbers, statistics. Um, and then a quick Google query yeah, immediately came up with data science. Since the last thing which sparked some interest in my market research career was working with SPSS. You probably know of this. This is
Yeah.
specialized statistics software for market research, where I had to code up some things. And this was the only thing I had fun with, like putting on my headphones, uh, zooming out for like 3 hours and coding stuff up. And that's why I came up with coding, statistics, math. Yeah. And then data science popped up, and I researched a bit around it for like 2 weeks. And then right after my Google query, there was also a Google ad about data science bootcamps, which were pretty popular back in 2020. And I thought, hey, why not? Because in Germany, especially, you get such bootcamps. You get funded by our working department or working agencies. I don't know. When you are unemployed, you can go to a specialized agency which try to get you back into employment, and they fund these things, which is pretty neat. So for all Germans out there who want to do the same, uh, and yeah, and then I first touched this whole topic around data, and right from the start, my jaw dropped because it was so great. Like when I first time saw like the Pandas API, probably everyone knows of it, and my jaw dropped because it was so great. And I used to work in Excel and thought that I had a big proficiency in crunching numbers, but when got to know Python and all the other stuff, I knew that I simply know nothing about data crunching. And yeah, this were my first steps. And from that on, I did the bootcamp right when Corona or COVID-19 hit. So I was unemployed for like 8 months. So I had a lot of time on my hands to dive into all the topics, which I barely touched in bootcamp. It were like 12 weeks. Yeah, and so I did basically every tutorial out there and online courses and so on. And this, yeah, really kick-started my career. And then I applied to my current employer and also told them, hey guys, I don't know anything. I know a lot of things from the theory and coding things up on my computer. Um, I really love this topic, but I still need to learn. Maybe we can come together, so in some sort of traineeship or such. And yeah, that's how I landed my trainee position at my current employer. And they were pretty happy with me, so we continued this. And this is where I am right now.
Awesome. Thanks for the retrospective. A very interesting path, and I believe that it's very interesting to see that um, the data field is not what we might expect, and there are like many subcategories into it. We always hear and talk about data engineering, data science, ML ops, ML engineer, AI engineer more recently, and there are also data analysts and many roles that have like many different applications and tool stacks. So it's very interesting to see that we don't need to have like a strong specific mathematic or statistic background to go into ML, or in general into in data engineering. We can really learn on the go and do boot camps and do tutorials and understand what's required. So I have maybe a question. So your current employer, they hired you as a data scientist, if that's correct, but you ended up not being a data scientist due to the state maybe of the data. Can you share a bit with us the like when you entered, what you expected and what you ended up doing?
Yeah, I'm one of these famous recovering data scientists. A lot of people maybe heard from this, that you get hired as a data scientist, but end up working a lot on the data infrastructure. Maybe with a bit use cases in it, but you're basically a data engineer because his business needs to have this. Um, what I can say is that my expectations were coming from bootcamp. I thought um, I get a data set, and then I get my notebook out, and then I code the things up I learned. But this is not nearly this is not the truth at all in every company. You don't have this one data set, like you know from Kaggle also. You have a lot of data. It's messy, it's unstructured, and you have before you actually can do the fun parts about building machine learning models, you have to structure it, clean it, and make sure that it's there where it needs to be at the right time and so on. This is a lot of struggle for all companies. And since this data topic is also new to a lot of companies, they think that they need to hire data scientists, where in reality they need people responsible for data infrastructure. You don't have to need to put the label data engineer or data analyst or data scientist on someone. Uh, I mean, everyone can do the basics which are needed for business to get control of the data. And this
Mm,
is so my expectations were far away from reality. I would
mm.
say.
And so you've been growing more in a data engineer role so far. Um, do you have some main lessons that you've learned? Maybe frameworks, but lessons like experiences like facing data in in when you arrive. Like, how do you go about? All right, I want my little data set from Kaggle to do some fun things, but like, how do I get to this? Like, do you have some insights for us?
Yeah, I mean, when I learned all this stuff, I thought it's important to have knowledge about all the tools which I use, have a lot of knowledge about coding and stuff. And but as I said, this is far from reality because
Hmm.
most of the time I talk to people, I try to understand the problem, and I try to build to apply concepts on things.
Hmm.
So the overall building and using a tool and coding, this is the fun stuff, which only takes around 20% of my time. Um, what I learned is to have a clear problem and to have your data and then apply all you know on it. But in reality, you have to start with the problem and with the, I don't know, someone who talks about you and says, I have this problem, how can we solve it? You have to start on this side and then work your way back and think about how can I use all these technical solutions I have to
Hmm.
solve this problem. And to get a clear definition of a problem. This is not like a Kaggle competition where you say, uh, spot the fake news or cluster the customers. Um, People from the business side have very specific problems, and it's hard for them to frame this into a technical solution. I mean, it's obviously not their job. So basically, if you're a customer-facing data professional, doesn't matter if you're engineer, analyst, or scientist, the hard part is to translate such a problem into a technical solution you can build. I mean, from there on, from if you have an idea about a solution all around this, then it's easy. Then you build up. You set, you get your headphones on, and then you go into your coding cave and come up eight hours later with a solution. But having an idea about how you can build a solution, this is the real hard part because obviously business people don't have this technical expertise you have. And this is somewhat easier for me because coming from my background, I sat at both sides of the table. So I came from the business side and know how hard it is for you to explain a techie what you need because you say, yeah, it's obvious. I mean, I need to have the sales numbers in my dashboard, but how do they need to be aggregated? How do they need to be displayed? And I mean, there's so much questions if you're coming from a technical side. And for a business person, it's easy to say, yeah, of course, I need my sales numbers, but what else is there to not get? So this is the I don't know this hurdle between tech and business side.
Hmm. That's very interesting. And sometimes, most of the times, business are not sure of what they want. And so, in that case, I believe that what works best for me so far is I try to reverse engineer what they're trying to do. So I go about, okay, well, your objective is to make money, to shorten it. Maybe you're in this department, so you might have this or this as objectives, and maybe labeling what I think is true about them in front of them can be interesting to get a glimpse of what they're really trying to achieve. And maybe I can capture some more concrete ideas so that I can then afterwards build something that will be useful to them. Do you have tips about communicating with business and understanding better so that you can provide the best solution?
Yeah, I use two magical tricks, I call them. The first one, you explained it very well, is to just drop the sentence, share your screen and show me what you're trying to do. Because in 99% of cases, I see an Excel file where they drag around, I don't know, numbers and tell me this has to be there and there. And this helps me to understand what they want to achieve. And the second great thing about this is I can think of, I mean, they obviously don't know what is possible and what is not. So I can think about, hey, in the end, they want to achieve this and they do it with process step A, B, C. Maybe I can think about, hey, why not cut process step B and do the machine automatically do C so that they don't have to do all this stuff. So yeah, I have a good example. Someone wanted to have the Excel report sent to them on the, I don't know, daily basis, weekly basis, and I thought, hey, why you're looking for a specific number in your Excel file, and if it's good, then you do A. If it's bad, then you do B, and if it's C, then you do nothing. So I thought maybe you just get an email each day telling you the number is B, you're fine for today or something like that. And this cuts time for them, and I can think about how a machine, how my technical expertise can save them time, solve them their problem. And so this is the first one. So just share a screen, and this opens up so many discussion possibilities. And B is when I think about a solution, or I come back to them with a plan where I say, hey, let's do this. I open up a Scribble software solution like probably Excalidraw, but you can use Miro. What's out there? There's so many solutions where you can drag little boxes and write something. And so it doesn't have to be beautiful. You can even use PowerPoint, so whatever. Uh, and then I show them I do this, and then it goes to there, and this is how it helps you. And if they say, okay, I understand what you're doing, but let's do it that way, and this has to be done. So I have a visual representation of our, I don't know, high level system, which helps them. And both combined really helps to A, understand the problem, and B, show them how we are solving it together. And if we both agree on both things, then we speak the same language. Of course, we have to do more iterations. I show them this is what I've done, and they say, yeah, fine, but do it a bit different. But this is how I most often come to a conclusion. And I can't highlight this enough, this screen sharing from others and just asking questions is people want to talk about the problem. People, it's not like they don't want to talk to you, but in my experience, both sides hide behind the technical jargon. Like we drop all our fancy tech stuff like databases and machine learning model, and the business side is totally frightened by that. So they try to hide behind their, I don't know, sales KPIs or behind a specific business jargon. And so both sides are kind of insecure about what they do or what the other think, so they hide behind their language. And if for me, it works really well to play a dumb person. So basically, I ask everything. So what is the KPI? What is this? What is the sales number? And people are, I mean, the business side is also very passionate most often about what they do, and they like to talk to you and they like to explain. And so this is the best approach to get to know the problem.
Hmm. Yeah, and you said something that I think is very valuable. Um, Adding to the sharing screen and labeling them, it's like drawing or yeah, drawing in a high level way, and I think that it's important the high level way, so that it is a like a concept that we can look at and see, okay, this is what happens, whatever happens behind. Like
Yeah.
we don't want to see like the getaways and look the we don't want to see like the very tiny details of the architecture, but like the big solutions. Maybe it can be used to understand better how a KPI is being calculated, and understand if like the new code that I did does it well, or maybe it's like the solution and how you're going to consume, and does that work with you? Awesome. uh,
I mean,
Makes a lot of
if I might interrupt, it's the same. I have no idea about cars, and if my car is broken, I go to a mechanic, and he tells me, yeah, your motor is broken. I don't know. We have to refill oil. You have a flat tire, and that's fine for me. I don't. I have no idea what he's doing with my motor or how he's repairing the oil engine. All I caring about is that my car is running again, and so I'm not asking questions.
mm,
If he explains to me what the issue was or how we get to a solution, I'm fine. And yeah, great, do it. I will be happy once my car is running again.
awesome. um, I think it would be very interesting to get more into details of some things. So, could you maybe share with us an end-to-end thing? It doesn't have to be with your company, maybe a side project or something, or if it is in your company, better. But mm, would you be able to share with us an end-to-end of you receive or maybe identify a problem and you go about building a solution, and sharing a bit the process?
Yeah, I have a great example of a personal thing I built because I had the pain. So basically, where you also start on the business side, I had the pain that I read a lot of literature on my Kindle ebook reader, and I did a lot of comments and markings. And I mean, sometime I need to bring them to action. I mean, where's the point if I do a lot of markings and don't use them? And the only export option is into a pretty ugly text file. And then I thought, okay, maybe I got like 1,000 markings. How can I possibly even summarize them? I mean, this would be a full day of summarizing my markings. Then I thought, hey, maybe I can do let AI do this for me. And so I thought about a solution. How can I bring some structure in this ugly output? And how can I provide this to an AI to automatically summarize this? So this, yeah, I was pretty hyped about this because I got to be a lot of creative. And so what I basically did, you can send these markings from your Kindle to your email address. And from there on, I ingest it with a Python script. So nothing fancy, just remove lines and paste or pass these text files into a structured way, and then simply send my markings, which can be sometimes not a whole page, but I will like say like 15 sentences. I send it to an AI. Maybe yeah, I use the OpenAI with the API key, and then say, please summarize this into maximum 2 sentences, and then paste it back. So maybe I probably lose like 1% of information there, but I save, I would say, if we talk about 1,000 markings, I save around 8 hours,
Mm,
which is my free time. So, which is
mm,
it's a pretty good use case for me, or
mm.
return on investment, I would say. And so this is something you can also apply to business use cases. If you find a pain and can solve this with minimal resources, then you have a good use case.
Hmm. And that's awesome to be able to first of all to win this time. Secondly, to be able to retrieve your notes. I believe the next steps for your application is um, you want to store everything in a vector database and and then like through time everything is being added, all your notes, all your lessons, and when you're thinking about a specific topic, you just consult your vector database and you retrieve the first five tops, and then you have a mix of all your notes in one sentence based on what you're looking for. That's awesome.
All in the backlog already. Yeah.
Wow.
but,
Awesome.
but yeah, but I have to step back a bit because this is in my free time, and I can't make a full time job out of it. Not yet. Not yet.
I see, I see. So I would like to ask you about the importance. Well, first to emphasize that a tech stack is not what's the most important. So maybe we'll be able to discuss that. But I would also like to ask you about Google tech stack that you've been playing around with for some time, because I'm more familiar with Azure and AWS. So can you maybe share with us first of all, like how it is not the most important to choose the like Azure, AWS, Google, and so on, but secondly to share an architecture, something that you've built, or how would you go about building this tech stack in Google?
Yeah. Um, yeah. To start with, I have the most experience in a Google Cloud Platform, but I also seen AWS and Azure. And what I can say, I mean, there are also so many comparisons. If you just Google AWS versus Azure versus GCP, basically every big cloud provider has the same tools and functionalities. So they I mean, if you look for serverless functions in AWS, they are called Lambda. Azure, I don't know, but in GCP they are called Cloud Functions. So just to give an example, every functionality is already present in the other cloud provider. I mean, they can't simply afford to not have a specific functionality if the others don't have it. If the others have it. So basically, in the core, they're all the same. They use the same technology in the backend, I guess. And yeah, it's a matter of flavor and what you're used to, basically. So I'm used to Google Cloud because my employer is using well was using it for a use case. So that's what I would say that's what I grew up with. So I'm pretty familiar with it. Um, but I don't think that the switch to other cloud providers is that of a big deal, because what's important is to understand the concept around all the tools. So what is a storage solution? What is a data warehouse? What is a serverless function? What is, I don't know, a container registry? If you understand the concept and how you, or what you should provide to these tools, then it's nearly irrelevant which cloud provider you use. And yeah, so to give you an example, what I often build in GCP is that, coming from a data engineering perspective, I try to utilize the different storage options, which, for example, Google Cloud yields. You can have a data-like structure if you just use these bucket storage solutions where you can dump all your kind of data, and then from there on use different data pre-processing or processing tools, like for example Google Cloud offers data procs. This is Spark clusters where you can use data flow. This is Beam in the background, or you can use serverless cloud function where you use, for example, Polars or Pandas to process your data and then automatically push it, for example, into your data warehouse, which is BigQuery. And all the three components you can find in AWS and Azure. They only have a different name. So um, and this is kind of the structure where you go from a data lake structure, process it, and push it into a structured area, and then you have a lot of machine learning frameworks you can use there, where you can put dashboards on top. So every solution, every cloud provider has their own solutions, but in the core it's the same. So
Hmm.
my advice, so there's a big debate about which cloud provider should I learn. Pick the one you like, and then learn the core concepts around it, so that it's basic. I mean, it's a bonus if some employer says, proficiency in AWS is great. But if you go to them and say, hey, I'm super familiar with GCP, they say, yeah, I mean, great. Even what's new trend, all the other cloud providers, they try to function together. So it's very easy to shift data from GCP to AWS to Azure and vice versa. So they try to work together to make the switch more easy. So yeah, and you can build pretty much anything on top of each cloud provider.
And that the brick sits in the middle.
Yeah,
That's too powerful.
yeah, oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Databricks is like I'm friend with everyone. Snowflake too. Um, awesome. So I think okay. And do you okay? You discussed data visualization. Maybe just questions, but I have never used. I have a lot of ads running that are targeting me with BigQuery, and so it appears that in BigQuery you can visualize a lot of things. But if I understand correctly of what you shared, BigQuery is a data warehouse of the, or is it the data lake?
No, it's a data warehouse. It's
All
like
right.
Redshift, I guess, is the equivalent, and
And
yeah.
so, okay, yeah, okay. And so they have BI tools on top of it directly, right?
And not directly. You can, for example, in GCP, you can have Looker, which
Mm,
is a paid solution.
mm,
So you pay as you go. Or you can have Looker Studio, which is formerly Data Studio. This is
mm,
free, and you can put it on top. So basically, you open it up, you can create your charts and so on, and then you can say, please use this backing data source. And then you can select Google Sheets, BigQuery, whatever you like.
mm. I
But
see.
BigQuery doesn't directly, to my knowledge, provide visualization. But
No.
you can put everything on top, like Tableau, even Power BI, Looker Studio, Superset, whatever you
Hmm.
like.
Hmm. I've heard Looker, but you're right. Just wanted to make sure. Um, mm, I would asking you was faster. Awesome. So you mentioned we have a good idea of a stack. We understand that a stack is not in the end what's the most important thing. I would like to go back to the use cases and to adding value, defining good metrics to add value and so on. So my first question is: you write a lot on LinkedIn about use cases. Um, how do you come up with ideas about use cases? First of all.
Um, two main things. Uh, I mentioned that I was unemployed for 8 months and my brain exploded right after my bootcamp out of creativity, curiosity. So yeah, I searched for use cases in different industries from different people on LinkedIn. And so I collected ideas for 8 months and this piled up really. This was also my motivation to do this kind of uh, posting. So for all the people not familiar with, every Friday I do uh, like a portfolio project idea where I share a data set and some tasks you can perform on it to learn to showcase what you can do, and I divide it into data engineering tasks, analysis tasks, and some data science tasks. And yeah, this came because I piled up so many ideas, which I all wanted to do in my free time, which is absolutely impossible. So I said, hey, why not recycle or use this for content? And yeah, people seem to like it. Um, and yeah, that's what I do each Friday on LinkedIn. And still, I got lot in the backlog because after I did my bootcamp, I feel like Neo in the Matrix movie, where he begins to see this whole world in zeros and ones. And right after my bootcamp, I began to understand to look at the world in a data manner. So I can stop talking about it, and I almost see everywhere use case. This can be improved with data, and this can be researched. And I mean, even I wear a fitness tracker, and this is also this gathers or collects data all day, and you can. I mean, our world is described by data, and you can make so much of it out of it, and that's why I got so many ideas. Far away from industries, there's so much data around us, nearly every second. I mean, my favorite use case was to come up to analyze your WhatsApp group chats because I mean, not everyone is aware of this, but writing messages and sending images on a specific day, on a specific time, this is so much information you can use and give it to a machine to learn with it. So, which obviously is meta doing, but yeah, that's why I come up with so many ideas because I feel like Neo looking behind the curtains and seeing
Hmm.
everything in data.
I believe that data comes back to like the beginning of like when the sapiens when the humankind started to like build communities, and like they started the agriculture thing, and they had to know like, okay, this is my home, or I'm giving you this for 30 years, or I'm doing this. And so they were putting things on, I don't know the English word, I think it was clay, maybe clay,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there was writing on it. And then was the beginning of data management, and it was horrible because if it rained, then the clay was like disappeared, and
yeah,
then it wasn't yours, or you didn't have the proofs that 5 years ago something happened. And so this is how like through time we've been evolving our data management thing. And before we have everything in computers and servers and databases, like we had like physical storage where we put it clay and then papers,
yeah.
and I mean there are many things in between. But I feel that it's fascinating because it have been there for so long, and I believe that this is what differentiates a lot the sapiens. This is direct reference to the book because it explains it very well. But data in history plays a huge part since the beginning, like being able to collaborate as this scale of human level would not be able if we didn't had data. And many more things, referring to closing this parenthesis to the this book and the history. But I mean, except if you want to add something about this. So not that I did this kind of little retrospective. My question would be for you. Well, first of all, do you have some examples of like use cases top of mind that maybe you've shared that are fun? And then I would like to ask you a bit about some metrics.
And you mean from a personal project?
Yeah, like all the ideas that you share on Fridays. Like, do you have some example of that you shared recently, maybe?
Yeah, I already talked about this WhatsApp group chat, which I really like because there's so much information you can export. If you go on the three dots on the right and export your chat history, there's a lot of information captured, and you can explore it from the text side. You can make a time series problem out of it where you explore different days and times, and you can make a descriptive analytics because you have several categories like who posted what, how many stuff, and when did they post. So this is, I would say, from my perspective, my favorite topic. But what always works best is with brands and things people know. For example, I did something on Spotify, which I also really like because I really love listening to music, and there's also so much to explore. Or like Lord of the Rings or Netflix. These were pretty successful in terms of engagement. Um, yeah.
Hmm. And all of these are on your repos also? Like you share them on
Yeah.
GitHub too?
No,
Awesome.
no, 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 no. I don't have them on GitHub. I use Notion for that
Oh.
because what I provide is so like a PDF with all the tasks in it. link to data set, and then some tutorials, because I simply don't have the time to do them. So some people ask me, do you all these projects? I can't. I can't do such a project every week. This would be
Mm,
insane. So I only have the idea and let people explore on their own. And so I have a public Notion space where you can access. It's right on my LinkedIn profile, and then you can download everything you need from
mm.
there.
And do you have some use cases that you have been able to work on that you really enjoyed? Because you have so many ideas, so it comes like, which one will you choose for yourself? Which one will you give to others?
Yeah.
So you shared with us the example of the Kindle, but how do you go about choosing the ones you will work on? And do you have some examples in the past of side projects that you really like to do?
Yeah, this is an easy one because choose the data you're most interested in. You have a personal relation to. For me, this is especially music, video games, because I know the data even without looking at it, because I have a personal interest in, or maybe football data. So European football, not American, to be clear here. Uh, and this is data I know by heart basically. So I don't need any more explanation to the columns or what this data means, because I know it since I grew up. What I'm currently working on is on Spotify music data. I'm a big fan of hardstyle music, and there's not much analytical coverage, I would say, about this genre of music. And so I'm trying to build. I, my current working name is Hardstyle Monitor, where I show which are the most listened artists right now. I mean, Spotify provides this in a very basic manner, but I try to build a whole ecosystem around this, and and I really like it because it has all these parts. You need to do a lot of engineering. How do I extract the data, when and where, and how do I store it? How do I handle duplicates in the data? Because maybe when I get data from a public playlist, uh, the the same actor is listed twice, or I don't know, and then I can do a lot of analytical stuff on it, like which are the most listened actors, which is the most famous song, and so on, and then visualize it with a tool, and then I'm not sure what kind of, if there's even a need to do some machine learning or even let AI do some stuff on it. I'm currently thinking about analyzing lyrics, which I guess Spotify also provides. This would be great to let an AI rewrite songs, or let it spot which artist, so which
Mm,
artist is this most probably coming from the lyrics. I have some things in mind, and this is what I'm currently listening and working on,
yeah.
because this is personal. This is data I personally connect to, and
Huh.
this makes it easy for me to work on. This is also my advice for everyone thinking about a portfolio project. Choose data you have a personal interest in, because you
Mm,
understand the data, and this also gets you an extra layer of motivation to work on it. Because if I would have to need on, I don't know, credit default loan data, I wouldn't have that much motivation, because for me this is boring. For others it's highly interesting. So
mm.
choose data you have a connection to.
Awesome. As you were sharing all the things you can do with Spotify, um, if we look into one genre, I believe that one in particular application and goal that is interesting is what makes in this specific genre a music successful
Yeah,
with all the metrics. And so we can of course calculate like the views, the I don't know, frequencies of the artist publishing songs. We can calculate like the lyrics like you mentioned. And some things that I believe can be very interesting too is like uh, for example the ratio between like how they are structured. Like how do you detect that this is a chorus, this is a verse one, this is, and look, so the architecture of the musics,
Mm.
then the percentage of music and lyrics, and like, so if you push there, you might have some interesting data that can allow you to clusterize or classify the musics, and it could be interesting to see in a specific genre this kind of clusterization or classification. um,
Yeah, great advice. Because from my experience, this genre, a lot of tracks are built up different than a classical pop song, I would guess. Because pop songs start slowly, and most of these hard electronic music starts with a bang, I would say, then
mm,
slows down a bit, and then comes back up again. And yeah,
mm.
pretty interesting too. Yeah,
Oh,
and
question. Yes, sorry.
I forgot the most important part about such a portfolio project, and you mentioned it. It's you have to have a goal because I mean you want to showcase your skills, but you also have to showcase that you can do all of the stuff with a clear goal in mind. I mean, you can't if your research question is what makes a song successful, this is a great question to analyze. If I just show I can extract the data and analyze it, this is not enough. So yes, you have to
Mm.
have your goal in mind.
Makes sense, and it also implicitly relate to what you said before, which is you don't start by building the entire architecture of something. You like have a use case, and so you take the pieces that will meet the requirements um, to achieve and deliver for a specific problem, and then the architecture grow because we can take in mind that we might need this in the future and so on. But yeah, this is a good point. Out of curiosity, do you know if you can access to the audio files when you request to Spotify, if you have a developer account or something, like to have access to the WAV file or MP3 file?
That I'm not sure of. I mean, you can what you can do is download this stuff to your computer, but I'm not sure if you can extract this via the API.
Hmm.
Worth investigating. But
Hmm.
this is a sub niche. I would say this is audio analytics. I didn't dig into because this is whole other direction.
I'm sure data scientists in Spotify are already on this,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they have all the informations
yeah,
that
yeah,
we need.
most
And
definitely.
they're doing consulting in the music industry afterwards with like great insights, and they will build model that will be able to generate music structures that are optimized for clicks.
Yeah,
Oof, wild. You have quite an interesting journey on LinkedIn. Maybe can you share how you started posting on LinkedIn, why, and what do you get from it?
yeah. Yeah, this is a question I'm asking myself repeatedly because creating content is quite time consuming. And when I'm at my lowest, I ask myself, why am I doing this? And then I remind myself because I started because I read a lot of posts from Justin Welch. I guess everyone knows him. He's a LinkedIn legend. Um, and I don't know. I don't know if evoking is the right word, but somehow by reading his post, I got the impression that I need to start immediately, or otherwise I'm missing out big time. Um, this is kind of true because I got so many things back from being active on here. Like for example, this podcast, we would have never met if you didn't saw my content. And but for me, what really is rewarding is meeting people like you to widening my horizon. I mean, I learned so much from this platform simply by reading one or two posts a day from seasoned experts, from like people are posting here which have a zero in tech somewhere and they post about strategy, just a tiny bit, but this is I take away so much from that, and I really learn from this platform because you can create your own bubble of experts who post so much great stuff on a daily basis. and you can connect to people you wouldn't have connected if you didn't post. And what it also does for me is, um, I mean, everyone got the imposter syndrome to some degree, I guess. Uh, I got it big time, and so before I say anything on LinkedIn, I have to research it and reflect on it because I don't want someone calling me out, which actually never happened. But calling me out, yeah, you're writing complete nonsense. You're fake. Uh, so this is a small fear I have, which was way bigger when I started. Um, but so I need to reflect on what I write, and I need to reflect about what I want to write. And this also helps me to position myself into some kind of expertise or specialized fields. Because I noticed, do I want to write about coding? Do I want to write about machine learning? This didn't cut quite my interest. And so I noticed what I'm interested in right now is like this engineering side, building a system to leverage AI in specific use cases. And this is something I like to talk about, and posting on LinkedIn helped me to find this special expertise I'm really interested in.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, and likes and comments play a role in your perceived, I don't know, value you have on this platform. But in the end, this doesn't really matter because it's the connections you make. I mean, this sounds really cheesy, but there's a lot of truth in it because, like I mentioned, I met so many great people on here. I even met up with someone in person here in Hamburg, where I'm living, and I wouldn't even got to know him if I weren't active on LinkedIn. And we talked for like 2 hours about data and stuff, and this was incredible. And yeah, this is a real value from such a social media network.
Totally makes sense. And it's amazing, like you said, how much you can learn, how much you can get to know very talented people, um, get to have frameworks to approach what I'm doing on a daily basis. Let's say I entered my company in a specific time and I just take as a reference my manager or whoever is on top of me. Then I would be I would be very limited in terms of, if I really appreciate this person and the learning, then it's great. If not, then it's bad. And if it's in between, then but what, like, how do I compare this? Like, what is my evaluation metrics to what are my evaluations metrics to know that this is really what I want, this is really what I'm good at, this is really what generates not necessarily passion but like curiosity out of me. And how do I want to specialize? And I believe that having this curiosity drive is very powerful. And most of the time, we might not have it because we haven't seen something that can spark into us, or that can be like, oh, right, this person is really something that I believed was not possible, but it appears that there are a lot to learn over there. And I might take this direction for like a few time, like 3 years, and then I'll pivot and I'll have some reference people, and I will share what I learned. I will share the journey, and I believe that this is why people enter in Kaggle competitions a lot of the time. It's just like public code. Maybe people will comment on your code. You will learn from your errors. You will get very good at manipulating data, and I believe that in this overall process, it really doesn't matter if no one likes or comments anything, because if we are like mm, meticulous in like being consistent in doing things, if we put like 2 years jump time, it will definitely have value after 2 years, because we've been around, we've played. Or I mean, if we don't, because we can not progress at all and not learn and just like post the same post, but that doesn't make any sense, of course. But if I
I
like
often,
keep, yeah, sorry.
sorry, continue.
No, what was I about to say?
uh, I often compare it to being a technical diary or your professional diary because I mean, if you write a personal diary, it's scientifically proven that this enhances your mental health, or it's good for your mental health. And the same applies to writing on LinkedIn or a technical blog somewhere. It's like a real boost for your professional growth, like it's for your personal growth if you write a normal diary. And I
Hmm.
met I saw so many people on LinkedIn where you mentioned it earlier, where I thought, hey, this person is doing what I would like to do. Maybe with a bit of variation in it, but this person is living my dream, and I wouldn't even got the idea about what is my dream if I didn't follow these persons and listen and read what they are writing.
Hmm. And to take another path, maybe I don't care about anyone on the platform, but I want to make myself accountable. And so I will engage in public sharing so that I will force myself to doing things. And I believe that there are so many things to do. Like we can write blogs, we can write content, we can summarize concepts that we've learned, we can go and code live. Like this is awesome to just code live. Maybe no one will watch, but you just like put on the camera, code for a specific amount of time, close the camera,
Yeah,
and
on
that's
Twitch.
yeah, or on Twitch, or you did on YouTube, and that's it's just like going to the gym in the end, or like writing a diary. So I believe that the most important is not necessarily like which one of these things one can do, but it's about like choosing one that suits my curiosity at this moment, and that I feel like I want to push forward in that direction, and that just commit. And
Yeah,
this is a very interesting part because then like through time after 3 weeks like you said, why am I doing this? Like no
yeah,
one is watching it. But if you compare your starting point and what you're doing 3 weeks after or 2 months after, you can clearly see like that something changed and like your vision around it changed. Because but it doesn't change from a day to another. So a lot of the time we're
yeah,
like we don't see this big growth,
yeah,
compounding effect.
yeah.
Coming back to yes.
But by public committing to something, it makes you, I don't know, some kind of invincible to anything. Yeah, by posting on LinkedIn, I feel so more confident than 1 year before I started, and people also perceive me as some kind of expert. I would say, well, I have no idea about anything I'm doing, but people perceive me as someone who is credible, who is capable of doing what he's writing about. I would, of course, agree that I'm capable of what I'm doing. I'm no scam here, but yeah, this is if you publicly commit to something and then do it, it makes you invincible to anything because you're publicly you're putting yourself out, and this makes you so confident about anything you do.
Totally. Naval Ravikant says something that, well, uh, in like his tweet threads, he discussed at some point about like making yourself accountable. So like take risks,
Yeah,
but those risks are the one that can be rewarded. So if you fail, okay, you will fail publicly. That that won't kill me. And but if you succeed, your name is there. And so I believe that this is very important, and it gives a lot more confidence to like allow myself to fail, because if I go to the gym first time, nothing will happen. And if I
yeah,
go the next day, either, and the next month, either. But after some time, it's when you really see everything moving and changing. And so I believe that this is a very mental exercise to like just put myself out there and embrace like what like the friction of like the fear. What are they going to say? Are they going to, and again we're talking about putting things on LinkedIn or anything that we could do, but I believe that the idea behind what we're trying to communicate is like put yourself accountable, find something that generate curiosity, and find a framework so that you will repeat it frequently, and so that you can see on the bigger picture improvements. I believe that those are key things that I personally try to implement. Let's see in a few months, in a few years. How does that go?
yeah.
um, Fabian, do you have tips, maybe for people who are starting their journey? You did a boot camp that helped you a lot. Do you have tips for anyone entering the field right now?
Yeah, you just had this great gym analogy. I also use a lot because my advice is you don't need a boot camp. You don't need any external help because what I learned, but this was my biggest learning from the boot camp. If you want to do it, or if you want to learn it, or if you want to do anything, you can do it because I mean difficult data concepts such as LLMs, machine learning, data in general. This is really intimidating once you start doing it or once you start approaching it. Same as going to the gym. It's just really intimidating. All the buff guys, all the super buff girls also, and you feel so inadequate. But when you start doing it, like for two, like this, the second or third time you go to the gym, it gets less intimidating with every step you make, and so everyone can do it. I mean, 99% of people can't understand such hard data topics in one day or one week, and so neither do I. But if you're going to the gym, learning a language, if you learn to cook, learn an instrument, you have to start with the basics and then work your way up consistently, like you said, with small steps. And after some times, you won't notice this, but you will have some times where you say, "Whoa," and you look back and reflect and say, "Wow, I learned so much," and you didn't even notice it. So if you're in the gym, one day you can do like 20 pull-ups, and you say, "Wow, when did I manage to do that?" And this doesn't come overnight, but if you consistently put in small steps, then it's 100% for sure that you reach the point you want to. And my advice is all the basics, all the concepts are out there for free on the internet. You don't need a bootcamp for that. You don't need to have specific courses. I mean, if you look for a data science course, they are like 100,000 courses. My advice is pick one, stick to it, and yeah, do it till the end, and then write down what questions do you have. I mean, it's all about guidelines. What should I learn? Where should I look for it? And if you pick one large course on YouTube, buy one for, I don't know, $10 on Udemy um, when it's on sale, and then stick to it. And then you have a clear guideline what's important. I mean, you can even go on LinkedIn and follow like 20 people who provide a great learning journey for you. Or you can apply to newsletters. There's so many free stuff out there, and you don't need to pay for it. I mean, bootcamp is definitely an easy way because you get a bit more structure around all of it, and you get a bit more guidelines. But you can get also to completely get this for free on any somewhat bigger tutorial. And then my second advice after you got your feet wet, you get the basics, then do a project. Like I have plenty, but there are also other great projects out there because the most you learn from real challenges. Because not when you do a course, then it's a very isolated lab kind of environment where everything is fine and great. Uh, Choose a real challenge and struggle with it because that's where you learn the most to overcome a real struggle because then you have to learn it. I mean, it's okay to sit on a very when I had my first challenge was to convert a pandas column to another type. I sat there for 2 hours. Insane. But after that, I knew how to convert it to any format or to. I knew 100 ways which did work, but I learned the one way which worked. So, and this is also what sets apart juniors from seniors. They aren't better coders. They aren't better at concepts. Um, they have seen more ways on how things don't work, and they immediately know how things will work, and so they are way faster and more experienced. And this is, I mean, a lot of people roast me for this, but in my opinion, this is this is the most recent differentiator between junior and senior.
More experience. Yes, and yeah, I love this. And I think that one mistake, if I might add, one thing that appeared to me is when we compare ourselves. Like, this is such um, a very bad way to impact my productivity, because the same way when I enter the gym, I won't look as strong as the guy who've been going to the gym for 10 years. But neither do I want to look like that now, because maybe one of my goals is to be very, very fit and very healthy. And so maybe I'll put in the work, and maybe at some point, well, all this work will end up in me. All right, so I'm starting to feel very in shape, and maybe I want to eat a bit more of protein, and maybe I'll go on this path. But as of today, I don't want to be a principal data scientist. If I need, like, so I believe that choosing metrics of improvements compared to other is wrong. And I believe that the only metrics of improvements that we should use is against ourselves, and like to see
Yeah,
the growth. I was there at this time, I'm here today, and then compare on that. And the learning
yeah,
curve, the growth rate is, I believe, the best metric that one can use, because then it's compounding effect, it's putting the reps, it's putting the time, and so, and enjoying the process.
yeah.
This sounds like a
I have a
self-development book.
great quote, great quote for that. Everyone is running their own race, because this is so great for me. It's helped me so many times, because if I imagine I run with all the other 100,000 data professionals around the stadium,
Wow.
I'm running in my own pace. And if I want to sit down or if I want to run faster, then I can do it. But it doesn't matter how the others are running. And yeah, this really takes away the pressure.
Hmm.
And I take my time. I'm an individual like others. I maybe learn faster than others. Others learn faster than me. I have a different learning approach than others. So yeah, just focus on yourself. And the best benchmark is yourself from yesterday. That's also a cheesy quote,
Yeah.
but like you said, this is a great benchmark to uh, to notice your progress. When I
Yeah.
look at my first GitHub notebooks, I cringe so hard because it's so bad. Like I printed like whole data frames out, and so it's really bad. But when I look at it and say, "Wow, I improved so much," this is a great way to notice your progress.
Yeah. Amazing. So, uh, I mean, we could go on this topic, but I recommend people to check out your LinkedIn. Like, when they're at the point where they need to put some reps in and they need to do like real projects, please check out Fabian's LinkedIn. Do you have where can people reach out or know more about you? So you have LinkedIn. Do you have other platforms, or like, what do you have going on?
Not yet. Um, one platform at a time. Maybe next year X will come together. Maybe well, next year I will start with writing Medium articles. I guess I'm 90% sure, 99% sure that I will start with Medium.
But right now
Where I
you
will
have
write.
like all for so next year medium articles coming, it have been announced, but like on LinkedIn, for example, you have this Friday where you release like projects, so like people can do it. Do you have more things going like that? Like, how do you have more sharings, or is it like mainly like people check you out on Fridays, or they can reach out on LinkedIn?
Yeah, but yeah, of course. You can reach me via LinkedIn. My inbox is always free for all curious people. So if you have questions regarding project, or if you did a project I proposed and maybe shared on LinkedIn, feel free to tag me, and I will be happy to give you feedback on this. Yeah.
Amazing. So my last question, and I want to thank you a lot for coming on the show and sharing about your journey. Very interesting background, providing a lot of value on LinkedIn. Um, do you have a last message for the Let's Talk AI community? After everything we said, like, do you have maybe one conclusion or one thing that you want to add to the discussion? It can be professional, personal, anything.
Um, Maybe it's a summary of our discussion about what you can do. So it's
Hmm.
basically, if you can imagine yourself doing it, then you can do it. Because it's all a matter of choice. Do I want to do it or do I not want to do it? If you make the choice in your head, I want to commit to do it, I want to commit to learn this, then it's like psychological, then you will do it for sure.
Hmm. Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Fabian, and I wish you to have a wonderful day.
Thank you for the invitation, Thomas. It was great. And I have to say, you always have great guests for your podcast. And every time I see a new face, I say, wow, I also would have invited this person. Nearly every time. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.